Hey guys, this is Chris from SurviveNnThrive. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make an improvised snow shelter or an emergency shelter for winter conditions. The name of it's called the Ice-Coffin. Now what this shelter is you're actually digging a body-sized trench in the ground. And you'll probably fill it with pine boughs or something like that to get your body off the snow itself. And then you'll just use something to cover the top of the opening. What this does is it gives you shelter from wind coming over the ground or anything like that, because you'll actually be lower than the wind coming or cutting across it. So this can actually be the difference between life and death in some winter conditions, because the wind will suck heat off of you faster than you can count to 5. So I'm just gonna get right into it and show you how to make it. Okay guys, so before we start building this, I've already picked the area I'm gonna build it. I know the snow here is deep enough right now for me to do this. You want, the snow needs to be taller than you are tall when you lay down. So let me explain that. When you lay down, you want the walls of the snow to be higher than your chest, by more than a few inches. So I know for me, I can get away with around 12 inches. Rule of thumb, stick to about between 1 foot and 2 feet minimum of height for your walls on your ice coffin. The reason being, because you're gonna have to put stuff on top, and if it's shorter or the same height as your body, you're still gonna feel that wind rip right across you. So I'm gonna start digging out the area, and I'm gonna show you what as I go along. Okay guys, so I'm just gonna mark out so you guys can see where I'm gonna be making this. So you want it a little more than shoulder width of yourself. And you're going to want it maybe about 6 inches taller than you are, or longer than you are. Okay, so once you have your spot picked out, what you want to do is start shoveling some of it out. Now I got a stick already that I can use as an improvised shelter, improvised shovel to dig this thing out. Yeah, here's my improvised shelter. No. Alright, so I'm just gonna start digging this snow over to the sides of where I want to build this and start piling up and make the walls a little higher. Just be careful when you're doing this not to overheat and start sweating, because if you start overheating and sweating, you're gonna quicken the onset of hypothermia in a survival situation, because your sweat's gonna make your clothes wet, and then later, once you stop moving and stop being physical, the wind and the temperature are gonna use that water to pull your body heat quick. Okay guys, so what I've basically done here is I've dug out an area that will be taller than me when I lay down. So essentially it's an ice coffin. So when I lay down, the snow level is about here, which is about 6 inches taller than my chest, which is perfect. So as you can see guys, I dug this down to the dirt basically. I got as far down as I could, and I stacked up the extra snow on the sides to give my walls more height. So this is coming out really good. So the next step we're going to do is we're actually going to start covering this. Now the thing to keep in mind is you don't want to seal it completely. You don't want to make it airtight or anything like that, so you can suffocate. You're almost making like a snow mummy bag. For those of you who don't know what a mummy bag is, you can Google it to get an image if I don't explain this well, which I probably won't. But it's basically a sleeping bag you go into that encloses around your body, everywhere except your face or your mouth and nose, so that sticks out so you can breathe. It's for Arctic conditions or cold winter conditions. So that's essentially what we're going to build. So I'm going to show you what I want to do next to get this shelter going. Alright guys, so the next step what I'm doing is you're going to want to stack in pine boughs. Now this is something you're going to have to, or pine boughs or anything you can get to get you off the ground. Now this is something you want to keep in mind when making your walls, is you want about 6 inches of compressed insulation. That's to keep the conduction away. What conduction is your body heat being pulled out through another surface, such as the ground. So I'm going to put pine boughs in here and eliminate conduction. Trust me, in a winter survival situation, conduction can be one of your worst nightmares at night. Alright, so now that I'm doing that, I'm also going to show you how to cover the top of this. Okay guys, so I got a some deadfall, you know, like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to break this. Say you don't have the cutting tool to actually cut through this the exact length you want it. We're going to break these so they're long enough to go across our snow shelter or our ice coffin. Alright guys, so we're going to pretend we don't have any cutting tools with us right now, and we have gathered our poles we want to go across our ice coffin. Now this is a dead pole, so it might be easy to break with my foot, but I don't want that thing snapping up on me. I don't want to expend the calories of stomping my feet on multiple poles. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to find 2 trees that are growing really close to each other, this one and this one, or I'm going to find a tree that has a V in it, one or the other. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pole and we're going to put it through these 2 trees that we're using as almost like a grip. Now what we're going to do is we want to line this pole up where we want it to break against the tree closest to us. So what we're going to do is I want it about this long. So when I pull it, so now that we have it in that vise, I'm going to grab this end and pull it towards me. Just like this. And it's going to snap the pole right where we wanted it. So now I got my 2 pieces to go on my ice shelter. Alright guys, so now what we're going to start doing with our poles is we're going to start lining them from where our feet would be to where our head would be. So what we're going to do first is we're just going to start laying these across our shelter. Okay guys, so now we've covered it with our base layer of our roofing, and the next thing we're going to do is we're going to find all the little sticks and stuff and just cover it as best we can. Alright guys, so now that I'm covering the top of this, the perks about being in a snow condition is snow is one of Mother Nature's best insulators. So what we're going to do is we're going to cover this really well, and then we can start putting snow on top of it to make it even more secure. Alright guys, so here's my completed ice coffin. I'll try to give you different views. If not, it'll be pictures. My camera is about to die, and I don't have my extra battery today. So when building this, I'm sitting in right here where I'd be getting in and out. I've essentially made a mummy sleeping bag. So the biggest problem I see people when they build this is they don't build their walls strong enough So when they stack the snow on top, it crunches down and they can't get in. Make sure you make enough room for you to physically get into the shelter. You can get a pile of pine boughs and pull them over to cover up most of this if the weather's bad. Just leave a slight opening somewhere so you have oxygen flow inside your shelter. So basically, let me see if I can position you. Ooh, I just broke my tripod. Oh well. Alright, so basically what I'm doing is I'm just going to get inside my shelter here. And this is how you would basically sleep in it. You would just tuck in to your shelter. So I have room between my chest and the top here. So I can relax. My gloves caught. I can relax and I can pull myself into here. Okay guys, so I'm filming the rest of this on my cell phone. Sorry for the quality. My camera died. I didn't bring in my extra battery. Boo me. Anyway, so let me just explain what I was doing. I was getting into the shelter just to show you guys what it looks like when you're in it. I'm going to flip the camera in a second and actually do it again, hopefully. So, and give you an overview of what the shelter looks like. So hang in there. Okay guys, so as I was saying, as I was getting in my shelter, I covered it with some snow blocks. I would cover this more if I was planning on spending an overnight with this as an emergency shelter. As right now, it would keep weather off of you if it snowed. It would keep the wind off of you if you notice the wall is built up on the side here, and so forth. So that's pretty much the snow shelter, or Ice-Coffin. It's basically a mummy sleeping bag. You can actually cover this, as I said, if you get pine boughs, and you can move them so it covers like where my hand is covering right now, and leaves this section open so you can put your head over here if you get weather. I'm just going to dive back in, and hopefully this time I can actually show it to you. Okay guys, I'm in my shelter. I'm hanging out of it a little more than normal, just because I need to keep my arms up to hold the phone. Basically, it's a tight fit in here. If you see my arm, my hand, I have an arms gap from my shoulder to the top of this. It's designed to actually keep heat in and keep it loading close to your body. So this is a non-fire shelter. And this is a non-fire shelter, so you would just be using your body heat and the lack of wind hitting you to keep this warm. So this shelter is actually using your own body temperature to heat it. It keeps you out of the weather and it keeps you out of the wind, which are two big things, especially in cold weather camping, or in a survival situation. The only other thing is you want to insulate the bed behind you. That's so you don't get conduction from the ground, because you'll freeze if you do not do that. You want about 6 inches of compressed cushioning or insulation under you. If you have a trash bag or anything too, that's another good item to put down in there. You still want insulation with the trash bag, but having the trash bag will create that moisture barrier. So in case snow starts to melt or the snow is too deep for you to dig all the way down. Other than that, guys, that's basically the snow shelter. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. You can take it away, use it, practice it, build the shelter a few times in your backyard, and so on. Other than that, thanks for checking out my channel. Thanks for watching my videos. Thanks for your support of subscribing, commenting, all that fun stuff. If you have any questions regarding the shelter, Feel free to message me, email me, all that fun stuff. I'll get back to you as fast as I can. My email's in the description below, as always. And hope to see you around.